What's good, everyone? I'm Venomous. I'm on a temporary mic setup because I was having motherboard issues, but this is the exciting conclusion of the best of 5 between Nerchio and Neeb. Nerchio, the Polish monster down here in the bottom left, an extremely high level player, the kind of guy you want to copy if you want to get good at the game. Neeb is up here in the top right, one of the only non-Koreans to ever win a major LAN in Korea. That was, of course, the Kesp Cup. And Neeb is going to be going for some quick scouting here with this probe. If he can get to this natural of Nerchio before this drone gets here, then he can block it. And Nerchio is going to run out with the drone and say, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll go out to my third. No, you know what, I'll just go pull gas. Because I don't want to get in a situation in Game 5 where you're going for a cannon rush and you cannon my third, and then once I see the cannons go up, it's too late. So Nerchio definitely playing things safe here. Maybe if this was a ladder game, he would have just taken his third base out here, hatchery first, but pull gas out here for Nerchio, so Neeb's not going to be able to try anything too cute. Not that he really was trying to, he's fast expanded. And taking his gas. Neeb is someone who doesn't really do a whole lot of really early cheese builds or these really bizarre all-ins that we see players like SOS do, or Chinese Protosses like Jim. Although Neeb is not afraid to be aggressive, he's not someone who relies on being aggressive. And oftentimes when we see Neeb play aggressive, there's a lot of these weird tech-based builds where he has a lot of high-tech expensive units and then he micros them very well. And he's going to build a cyber core here, and there it goes. So Neeb's expansion is about to finish. He's looking very good in his main. He's about to have optimal saturation. Meanwhile in Camp Nerchio, his natural is about to finish. Ling speed is on the way, the queen injects. Normal stuff going on so far. Oftentimes, once the cyber core finishes, we'll see Protoss players start 2 units at the same time out of their gateways. Against Terran, oftentimes it's double adept, but against Zerg it can be a couple different things, like we see Stalker here. So Stalker is a great choice for Neeb, because the Stalker is a very quick unit, but most importantly it's good for hunting down overlords. And once Neeb gets his mothership core, which we see he does not have, he's actually delaying his mothership core because he does not think Nerchio is going to cheese, and that 100 gas that he saves means that he can get this Twilight even earlier. But once he does get the mothership core, he can run around with it and use it to spot onto high grounds like this location right here, and this location right here, this little pedestal. Zergs really love to hide their overlords up on these high grounds. Nerchio did in fact get quick speed for his overlords, so let's look at the Nerchi vision. This is exactly what Nerchio sees when it comes to Neeb, at least, and he's going to stomp out this Adept Harass. Now thankfully for Neeb he does get away there. But Nerchio, let's think about how Nerchio played. Extremely safe with the pool gas when it was pretty obvious he wanted to go hatch first. And then he got a quick Overlord speed upgrade. This meant that there was no way that Neeb was going to be able to hide anything. And we see Neeb is chrono boosting away this upgrade here, Resonating Glaives. Now this is usually indicative of a 2-base Adept all-in, usually with Warp Prism. But we will see what Neeb wants to do. There are expand builds where you research Resonating Glaives and then go take a base. Nerchio has Lings out at this third 2 spot. Rarely do we see Protoss take this third because it's way easier to wheel down this ramp and defend. We see the Adepts come out here, and Neeb is doing an expand build. And this Speed Overlord is going to fly through the main and continue to scout around and see what Neeb is doing. Roaches are going to be the choice here for Nerchio. Now Nerchio knows that these Resonating Glaive Adepts are very good against Lings, and it is very easy to lose to these quick little Adept pressures if you do not go Roach. So Nerchio cranking out a few Roaches there was nice. He's just now getting his lair though. So the players are going to fight in the middle of the map here. Nerchio manages to get a couple acid shots off, but the Adept Shades come forward. Are they going to take it? No, they do not. So, of course, it is very powerful as Protoss to send your Shades somewhere with no intention of ever going, and then forcing the Zerg to actually follow your Shades there and then just canceling. And then if Zerg actually does not commit, you can just take the Shades forward and do damage. It's kind of similar to how Terran will drop in one location and then attack another. As we see, Nerchio here is continuously scouting, seeing what's going on. Third base concludes here for Neeb. He's going to start mining very quickly. Forge on the way, as well as more gates. This chrono boost I'm sure will be reallocated once this Robo and Forge come up. More action in the middle of the map as you see Adepts coming out here. Nerchio flanks with Lings. He's actually going to get a few of these before they can phase away. He picks up a couple, grabs a third, and the Adepts run into the main. They're going to start to try to snipe some drones, and this could be dangerous for our Polish player because this is the situation where Adepts can get a lot of value if they get a couple good phase shades off. The Adepts are going to run over here to the third. Nerchio pulls drones to try to stop these Adepts from getting away again. He's actually lost quite a few workers, really just 9. I mean, that's not a lot. We can see he jumped up to almost 20 there, but he is significantly down. Excuse me. It's probably brutal with the shitty mic. I apologize. Neeb is going to start to produce Immortals here. This is the correct choice against Roaches. Immortals do bonus damage to armored units, which of course Roaches are armored. And Roaches attack very slowly, and they get slaughtered by Immortals. Nerchio is going for +1 Roaches. He's taking a lot of gas, so maybe he's not going to all in. We can see he does of course have the Hydra Den, and he's researching the Hydra speed upgrade. Nerchio runs a few Lings in the natural here, tries to snipe some workers, gets a few, but Neeb gets his wall in order, and that was with the Dropper Lord, so that's how he got those in. It wasn't an issue with the wall. So Roach Hydra is going to be the choice. Is going to be the choice here for our Polish player, and he has the Roaches out here by the tower to spot. Neeb, of course, he's just continuing to produce Immortals. Immortal Sentry is very strong against Roaches, and here we see double overcharge going down to negate the Ling drop from Nerchio. And Nerchio is doing a good job with this Ling drop, but Neeb has his Mothership Core in the main, so it's not really going to do anything. Hallucination coming out for Neeb, a criminally underused ability. If we go to the Units tab, Nerchio is reaching around 20 Hydra. His Hydra speed's about to finish. And the Hallucinated Phoenix sees a little bit. So Nerchio's army really isn't that scary at the moment, because Neeb is already teching into High Templar. He can make a few Archons if he wants, and it looks like he's going to do a little bit of Zealot harass here. And this is brutal, because Hydras are very slow even with the upgrade. So whenever you multitask with the Warp Prism like this, and especially whenever you do big Adept Warp-ins in the main, Roach Hydra can be very difficult composition to try to defend this harass with. So Neeb tries to pick off a Queen, but Nerchio saw that coming from a mile away. He was able to move his army before the harassment occurred. And he has a lot of Dropper Lords here, and Neeb kind of senses what is up. Let's go to his vision. He's going to make some cannons here because he thinks that Nerchio is going to drop him, which of course he is. And a Lurker Den is on the way for Nerchio, so the Polish Zerg is going to get aggressive here. Storm is about to finish. +1's about halfway done. These fake Dropper Lords come in, and Neeb suddenly thinks, oh, I guess they're empty. Well, I'm going to have to fight here regardless. And I think after seeing this huge flock of Hydras, Neeb knows that those Dropper Lords are empty. And he's going to throw a couple force fields down, a couple storms, try to hold this fourth base. He's running out of energy here as Neeb. He forces some Hydras back with a couple more storms, but things are getting tricky here. Nerchio is ahead in supply, but Hydras are so bad against storm, and suddenly the fourth base is cancelled, and Hydras kite back. Double Archon is being made in the front door, but it's going to die. and Nerchio pressures Neeb off of that base. So Neeb is in a bit of a precarious situation, as we saw 8 drones die on the back end. Zealot harassing the main, so now 18 workers have been killed by Neeb. And once again, Nerchio is behind in workers. Zerg, of course, wants to be ahead of Protoss. And Nerchio is doing a very aggressive mid-game style. Hydraling Lurker. This means that if Nerchio doesn't do severe damage in the mid-game, Neeb can kind of scale into the late game better, especially if he techs into Colossi. We can see here Neeb has to be careful. I don't even think he has any Storm. And it might just be a victory here for Nerchio if he can attack before any splash damage is established and take the best of 5. Immortals are very good against Roaches. We can see that Nerchio had his handful of Roaches, but now he's just going pure Hydraling. If the Protoss player doesn't switch into Colossus, which they don't really have the money for if they're also going High Templar Storm, then they just make Immortal. Double Lurker being sieged up here for Nerchi by this third base, and Nerchio can continue to be aggressive. He has a Spire on the way. +3 is on the way for Neeb. Of course, he's had Storm for a while, and Nerchio is continuing to try to press forward into the natural, into the third, but with observers on the map for Neeb, Nerchio is a bit clocked here, although there is no Robo support bay. So Neeb might try to fight here. A couple Lurkers get unburrowed, a couple are already burrowed, and more come down, so a plethora of Lurkers are out here, but it's hard to engage into Lurkers with High Templar. But Neeb's going to try it. The Immortals are very good at engaging into things, and they try to bull shrew through a Lurker and throw a Storm down. Neeb is at 140 supply, Nerchio at 163, Nerchio making pure Hydra while he techs into Hive, and it just finishes. Neeb is waiting out by this third base, and remember, the later this game goes, the better situation that we see Neeb go into, at least until Nerchio makes a true commitment to Hive tech units. This fourth base is still under, I guess it's a fifth. The fourth base is doing okay for Nerchi. Not great, 68 drones. Nerchio's pressuring forward here. Neeb is continuing to skyrocket up in supply. Mind you, they were at a decent disadvantage, and now Neeb is doing pretty well. And a greater Spire is going to be the choice here for Nerchio. Nerchio is going to press up into the natural. So Nerchio is teching into Corruptor here. So he might be at a bit of a power trough if Neeb can manage to max out on anything. And now remember, no Robo support base still. So maybe Nerchio is thinking, well, he has to make a Robo Bay at some point and try to tech into Colossus, because I have an insane amount of Hydra. Well, Neeb is really just trying to deal with the Hydra via Storm, and it's going to be weird for Nerchio if he gets caught in this power trough where he has Corruptors without the ability to make Broodlords, or gets the Broodlords caught in cocoons. We can see Nerchio is trying to delay the inevitable here, but the Protoss is all on it, and Lurkers over here at this fourth base are going to make things difficult. Neeb snuffs out the harassment down low and then attacks this top base with Zealots. Great move. So Nerchio is truly committed here to 4 base. Some Hydras might die too. Hydras need to retreat. They're very slow off creep. And here we go. Nerchio is thinking about engaging, but here come the Broods. He really doesn't want to fight until the Broods are ready. And the reason he lost this base is because he couldn't split all of his Lurkers up. He really needed them concentrated. But Neeb might go for a sandwich here. This could be huge. The Broods do finish though. And another Storm goes down. And ooh, the Hydras gargle it. And the Hydras start to try to snipe the rocks. So nice Storms there from Neeb to come in from the north and then swoop in from the south to get a little droopy Storm action like it was Seattle out of nowhere. And here we see half of Neeb's army might fight Nerchio here. The other half is coming to rejoin him by the center tower. But Protoss has to be very wary of these Lurkers. And Nerchio has to be very confident here with Lurker Broodlord. The Broodlords come forward. Big Storms coming down. But Nerchio's kind of funneling everything into Storm. And wow, everything just gargling Storm here. Nerchio is having a parade in the rain here like it's that scene from A Clockwork Orange, and holy shit, he's at 120 supply, and Nerchio just attacked through that middle choke, and Neeb threw down like 6 Storms, and Hydralisks pretty much just get one-tapped by Storm. And Broodlords aren't fast enough to move, and Lurkers are underground, so there you go. Nerchio tried to attack, and I think for a brief moment he forgot that the Hydralisk was in fact nerfed. There was a brief 2 weeks. Oh, I love it. No GG from Nerchio as he says, that 2 weeks of Hydras being good with range was fun, but they're back to being paperweights. And he was trying to press his advantage. I think for several minutes there, Nerchio was actually ahead. And remember, this was a best of 5, so that's the series. And if we think about what happened in the game, Nerchio canceled this 4th. Neeb was kind of on knife's edge here with the storms. But then Nerchio was able to survive the mid-game counter, get through his power trough, tech to Broodlord, and then whenever he pressed through the middle of the map, like I explained earlier, none of those units can really do anything once they commit to attacking. So Nerchio falls there, types out with the smiley face, and quite honestly, I love his honesty. Subscribe for more.